Calgary Police Service have charged an Australian woman with mischief after claiming she was underage victim of sex trafficking and exploitation. At approximately 4 p.m. on Tuesday, September 16th, 2014, a woman walked into a Northeast Health Center and made claims she was a 14-year-old who was a victim of an abduction and prolonged sexual assault. The woman was immediately transported to a local hospital for further treatment, at which point CPS was called. Using a false name, Aurora Hepburn, the woman told investigators she'd endured years of violent sexual abuse and torture. For several weeks, investigators and healthcare workers spent countless hours working on the alleged victims to establish the extent of her abuse and provide services for her recovery. On Thursday, October 2nd, 2014, the service was notified of a similar case that was investigated in 2013 in Dublin, Ireland. Following a lengthy investigation by the Irish Garda, the woman's claims were determined to be false, and she was charged. After liaising with Garda, it was determined that the woman in Calgary was indeed believed to be one and the same. She was then taken into police custody and transported to Westwind's campus, where she was charged. Samantha Lindell, as a party, 26, originally of Sydney, Australia, is charged with public mischief to mislead police officer. Due to her multiple aliases, the service is taking the unusual step of releasing photos of as a party and is asking anyone with information about her movements in Calgary to call police at 403-266-1234 or Crime Stoppers.
Why are you putting this information out?
Again, this was an extensive investigation, and we'd like to know what Miss Azaparty's movements were in Calgary and who she may have been with to see if anyone else has any information as to what she was actually doing in Calgary.
Any thoughts on a motive? Seems a bit odd, to say the least.
At this time, we don't have a concrete motive as to the reason why she did this whole investigation or allegation. But what I can say is that Calgary Police Service does take these types of allegations very seriously, and we treat everyone with compassion and concern, and these allegations are to be investigated thoroughly because our goal is to provide the services for each victim.
Is she still being treated in the hospital for any kind of medical care?
I can't speak to any of the medical information for Miss Azaparty as far as what she has had as far as medical care. She is in police custody in remand.
Can you speak to her mental state before and now at all?
I'm unable to speak to her. She was cooperative with the Calgary Police Service, but at this point I cannot speak to her mental or capacity.
When you say she's been cooperative, did she then admit her past?
We did receive information from Interpol regarding this allegation in Ireland, and we were able to get this information and lead the investigation towards who she really was. She was interviewed and was cooperative, and did confirm that her name was Samantha Azaparty.
You said countless hours at one point. In Ireland, police there estimated it was 2,000 hours wasted police time. Any clue, are we close to that in Calgary?
We haven't had a chance to actually go through the actual hours, but it has been extensive.
Has this taken an officer or more than one officer off of other investigations while you followed this one up?
Again, we react and investigate these. These are very serious allegations, so yes, we have had several officers involved in this investigation. But again, this doesn't change how we approach our, allegations such as this that come forward. We take them very seriously.
I'm speaking more of the waste of time for you guys. If what you're saying about her is true, she did waste quite a bit of time.
There were extensive resources put into this investigation. Again, there was considerable impact to a lot of the professionals that were working on this investigation, as we were led to believe that this was an actual occurrence, and our concern was that there were victims that were out there, more victims. So again, this was an extensive investigation.
Did the Ireland police establish a motive after their investigation?
Again, we don't know that information.
But you've been in contact with the Irish police, that's right?
Our investigators have been in contact with both Ireland and Australia, again, where the same type of incident happened in Australia as well.
Did she serve time there, or what were her charges there?
I don't know the exact details for each one. At this time, I don't have the answer for that.
What will happen to her now?
She is in police custody in remand. It is up to the Crown Prosecutor's Office. They are working closely with CBSA, so it'll be determining between as to what's going to happen in the future.
So she could be deported then?
She may be deported. That will be, again, that's a decision that will happen between those agencies.
And that will be to Australia, because she's a Muslim?
I don't want to comment on exactly where she's going to be deported to or if she's going to be deported, but I mean, the information that we have is she is from Australia, so.
Would she be facing any more charges other than, is it mischief?
It's public mischief. At this point, again, with the information we have, no, but if there are if there is anybody else that has been a victim of any kind of a crime, that we encourage them to come forward and it will be investigated. But at this time, this is the charge that we have.
Any concerns that she was here at all, given she's got this history in Ireland, she's got a long history in Australia? What is she doing in Calgary doing the same thing again? And how did she get here?
Well, that's a good question because we don't know exactly how she got here. It is, we are concerned about this happening somewhere else in Canada or anywhere else in that matter, and that's another reason why we want to reach out to the public and make them aware of what has transpired.
Now, was there anybody accused? Was there somebody that you were people that you were investigating that she was accusing of?
No, those details we couldn't substantiate. Again, information came forward in bits and pieces. Again, with these types of complaints and offenses, victims are very traumatized, and so it is a difficult process to get details, and we have to work with our victims because that's the most important thing, is to make sure that we work with them throughout the recovery process and to ensure that we get the confidence of our victim, that they know we're acting in their best interest and trying to help them. So that's the critical piece right there.
So if the officers were working with her, it seems for a certain period of time while she was in hospital or whatever, were there signs that she was in fact sexually assaulted and tortured, any sorts of things? Did she have bruises or anything like that?
I don't want to speak to the actual medical piece of Miss Azapardi, but there were indications that we were following up, leads that we were trying to investigate to move this forward. So to answer your question, I don't want to speak to her medical condition.
The other places she's popped up, it seems to be one consistency. She's always got family in those places. Any connections here in Calgary that you're aware of?
At this time, we don't know of any connections here in Calgary.
She wasn't employed anywhere?
We don't have any knowledge of her being employed in Calgary.
What's the consequences for public mischief?
There's potential of up to 5 years for indictable, if it's an indictable offense. Again, this will be something that the Crown Prosecutor's Office will be dealing with, and it will be up to the Crown Prosecutor's Office to proceed with what they deem appropriate.
How did this come about that you guys were aware of what happened
Our primary investigators were in contact with Interpol, and information was shared in, again, trying to follow up with extensive leads that we had and confirm details. So information was shared, and we were able to find out that this in fact happened, and through the communication with other agencies, we were able to determine that this in fact was the same person.
Do you have her length of time in the hospital?
At this point, no, I don't have the length of time of hospital, of any hospital or medical care. Again, that would be something that AHS would have to speak to.
But she did spend time with maybe a psychiatric unit, can you say that?
No, I'm unable to, again, to talk about any particular Alberta Health. I'd like to defer that to the actual Alberta Health professionals.